Yep, I'm seeing everything. Welcome, welcome, welcome to Applebox. We're in our pre-roll right now, so yeah, share the show. Please ask any questions today. We're going to do something kind of unique, so we're going to have some fun. But yeah.
I'm not hearing you. Is your pack on?
Oh, my pack's not on. Okay, now it's green.
Okay.
Can you got me? Testing, 1, 2, test, test, test. Testing, 1, 2. Craig Burns here. Craig Burns, Burnie's Applebox. Anything?
I hear you.
Yeah. Oh. Okay, so you're going to go there. That's right. I don't get him on board.
Okay,
You're good.
so we're good.
You're good.
Okay. And is that because of the earpiece?
Yes.
Oh,
I actually found a Y splitter at home, so we can split the signal so that we can both hear.
oh, do it. Buy 2 of them. Yeah, you know what? Yeah.
Because we don't do these call-ins very often.
Right. You know what? Buy 2 of them.
I had one I found in the drawer. I don't need it.
Yeah. Well, still get 2 of them. And you know, we have these cases here too. I mean, we really haven't been on the road. A quick question for you. If I took our self finder that we have, you know, the ProBridge, could I use that to actually go out Facebook Live on my phone? Yeah. Do you think that it would be wise for me to try to take that over to NAB to go out live over my phone from the floor? Do you think that would work?
I don't know if it would give you a better signal.
It's cellular, so basically it's going to be harder to go
Just straight from the phone? Really? So you think that would it make it more difficult, or is it the same thing as using my phone?
I think it would add an unnecessary
Level?
of difficulty to the process. Yeah. Because technically, if you fire it up and it's putting out the Wi-Fi, you can connect into it and might get better. I don't know. In a place like that this is so screwed up to begin with.
Yeah. Because right now I'm not planning on going live. Only because of that problem. You know what I mean? I figured to just come and tape everything and then. Yeah. 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 And it depends where you're at in that hall too. Pretty sure.
Going to the opening, don't forget.
Yep.
And then to your camera. You can count down yourself.
Hey everybody, Friday at 2 o'clock, got to be Bernie's Apple Box. Here you are. Awesome. Thanks for coming by. And you know what? I just thought of this. I spent 5 minutes talking to the guys. I didn't even share the show. So take this moment with me, would you? And please share the show. We're going to have a really fun show today. We've got it. This is pre-NAB. We're not real. We're going to talk about work advice. It's really not going to be NAB stuff. Next week on the 12th, and I will be hyping this a little more next week, we have got a very special show where we're going to make a very special announcement about what we're doing with other people. And it's going to involve on-set lighting, and I want you to make sure, I'm going to give you some heads up next week, but I want you to make sure and tune in next week because it's going to be some great information. You know, one of the things we do we have let's talk to the guys first. Guys, say hi. You know, Sean's eating a sandwich. I just hid mine. You know,
yeah, mine's hiding behind the monitor. So.
Yeah. So yeah, there you go. Tony's got his. He's got a 14. He's got a 14.
I got a 14. Yeah. It's too bad Jimmy John's won't sponsor us.
Yeah, yeah. And do we got Ben? Do we got Ben in there?
I'm trying to pull him in.
Let me see. Ben, are you there?
I am here.
Ah, awesome, brother. How you doing? All right.
How are you, Burnie?
Good, good. You know, last week we showed a rerun of your show. So it was so great. I thought, we got to get Ben back on here again and have it. And you know what, Ben, today, what I think we're going to do is we're going to show, we do some Burnie's Apple Bytes. So those are little bites of from guests we have and stuff. And I thought you were the perfect guy to listen to those with me, and then we just talk about the advice and give our own advice too, because God knows we got plenty of advice to give. We don't always follow it for ourselves, but we got plenty to give.
And that's the truth, but hey, okay, I'm game. I'm down.
Oh, might have a little audio problem.
Uh-oh.
There he is. No,
I can't hear him. I can't hear him on mine.
Hello? Can you hear me? I can hear you.
I can't hear him.
Hello,
Sorry,
hello.
Ben. I've been hearing you all through since the show started,
I hear you fine,
but
buddy.
I cannot hear him right now.
yeah, he's responding. Yeah, he can hear you.
Okay, so everybody can hear everybody except me. I don't know what to do. You want to go to a commercial and see if we can troubleshoot this or what?
Yeah, we can.
Yep.
Okay, we're going to be right back. We're going to troubleshoot this problem. All right, live.
Live is live.
Hi, I'm Burnie. I own Burnie's Grip and Lighting, San Diego Grip and Lighting, and Los Angeles Grip and Lighting. You know, we pride ourselves on not only renting you the best equipment, but also giving you the best crews. And one of our core values here at Burnie's Grip and Lighting is that we give you the highest production value in the world. And remember, people used to say national, local. No, we present world-class production value on every set. We also know budgets are very tight these days, and you've got 10 hours to get what you need in the can. We move ahead, we move fast, and we know what you need. When you rent from Burnie's Grip and Lighting, you have a partner on your production for that day that is making sure you are well taken care of. So anytime you're in Southern California, give us a call at 714-609-3545, and we'll take very good care of you. See you on set.
Burnie's workshop is fantastic. Burnie's workshop is awesome. Burnie's workshop is insightful.
Burnie, in one word, passionate maybe. You can tell he really cares a lot.
Burnie is a badass.
He's a great teacher. He has great stories, and I would recommend this to anyone. Not only someone like me who's starting day one, but you know, I feel that in any profession, as you sharpen your sword, it always gets sharper.
I think the best thing about this is the access to understanding how to run your business, how to actually be in this filmmaking industry and make money at it. coming to this workshop, I think, is what actually gets you the tools to understand how to do that, how to get out there and sell yourself.
I thought that was really cool. I thought, he knows all the tricks in the book, and he knows how to show that to us and actually demonstrate it so we actually know what he's talking about.
I really like the hands-on experience. That's something that you don't find a lot. That's something you have to go on set a lot to just appreciate.
I know this is lighting seminar, but it's not only talk about lightings. He also share his business experience, personal experience, and guide us to what we should do, what kind of personality we should have in this business.
His stories, I think that kind of say everything, all in a few example stories that he gives out from time to time.
I would recommend this workshop to anybody who just spread into the industry, people who just don't know the swing of it. A lot of the stuff they don't teach you in film school.
I deal with a lot of freelancers every day, a lot of peers that I went to school with, a lot of professionals in the field, and they all need to take this class because it puts you on the next level, on the next playing field.
Bernie's a great guy. Bernie's really authentic. Like everything he learns, everything he teaches, the way he handles himself, the way he deals with other people, he's a one-of-a-kind guy. Someone I've never come across before in the industry, and someone I hope to emulate and hope that there are more people like him out there that can help.
Is there anything that I should be hearing?
Are we back?
Yeah, I can hear Ben. Hey everyone, we're having a few
I can hear you guys.
audio adjustments. Please bear with us.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay.
Alright. Talk first, Bernie.
Testing, 1, 2, test, 1, 2. Testing, 1, 2, 1, 2.
Okay.
Test, 1, 2. Test, 1, 2.
Ben, can you hear me?
I can hear everybody.
I can hear
Can you
Ben.
hear me?
I can hear Ben.
Yeah.
I can hear Ben. Okay.
What do you know?
Great. Okay. Gotcha. Okay.
Okay.
Thank you, Tony.
Unplugged and kicked one of these lines.
Oh, did I?
Good, yeah.
Raise up and wave from there, Tony.
Hello, everyone.
I don't think they can see you.
Hi.
Yeah, Tony's there. He is. Ay, ay, ay.
Down on the floor.
You know what, dude? This is the world of live TV. If anybody's ever going to go live out there, and I suggest you do, and also let me just plug somebody right now. Live streaming partners with Luria Petrucci, I believe is her last name, Petrucci. They are awesome people. I'm a member of their organization, and they have some great information. And you know, one thing live has taught me, and Ben, we've talked about this before too, is you better check your ego at the door, number one, and two, you better be ready for anything to happen and go with it.
Yes, you do. You have to be prepared for the X factor and be able to think quickly.
Yes, absolutely. And you know what? It's that is sort of the dynamic of our whole business, right, Ben? Because no matter what the call sheet says, no matter what you've been told or promised, you're going to go to set and you better rewrite the story right there because things can change on a dime. Correct?
And absolutely, because I think what separates, you know, the girls from the women, the boys from the men, are what do you do when it's going sideways?
Yeah.
That is the mark of a true professional, because anybody can do the job when everything is going by the numbers.
Sure.
I think the seasoned professional is what do you do when it's going horribly wrong to save the shot so you don't come back empty-handed, because, you know, we've all been there when cameras die, lights die, things go wrong, actors get sick, locations go to hell, things just happen, and you have to be able to adapt.
Absolutely.
You know, and that will get you called back if you're the person that can adapt and bring home something even under adverse conditions. People remember that rather than I don't know what to do and throwing your hands up and going, you know, we're dead. You know what I mean?
Yes. Yes, absolutely. You know, and it's the person too, and believe me, I've had to, you know what I mean, work on myself with this too. When it comes, you hear about the problem. When your initial reaction is to the problem, stop. Don't think that you have to have that answer immediately. I stop, I replay the question, the problem back in my mind, I think it out, I try to shut everything else out, even if somebody's talking to me and they're usually scared, and they are, and think about what is the first thing that I can do to fix this. In other words, we all have to stop doing everything we're doing right now. You know what I mean? And then go to the next place there, the next place. Define where the problem is. You know what I mean? If it's no audio, well, obviously it's the, sound guy's got to deal with that. But anything.
Well, it's kind of a rapid logic tree in your head.
Yes,
you have to
yes.
kind of go, okay, if this, and you shortcut it down quickly, because time is money in our business. Nobody wants you to stand around for an hour to try
Right.
to figure out a problem.
Right, right. You just have to go
get
through
a solution within a few minutes, exactly.
Yeah, yeah, and part of that too is thinking about how you react generally. You know what I mean? Knowing yourself well enough to know how do I react generally. If this is going to happen, if it's going to happen, I want to take the thought process this way. There's nothing wrong with like thinking that through or thinking that out. We just get caught up where you don't expect it.
Well, fear and uncertainty on set trickle down. If you have a department head that is fearful and uncertain, it taints the entire department.
Yes.
It really does. I've seen
Yes.
it happen. It's poisonous.
Yes.
When especially if department heads, for whatever reason, aren't agreeing or are at odds over something, it makes the entire production not work very well. And at the end of the day, what we do is very much a team effort. It requires the input of a lot of professionals and a lot of people who are good at what they do.
Yeah, you know what? Last couple weeks ago, we had, I don't know if you saw it, but we had AJ Blyer on here, and he told a very good story about going his first big automobile shoot, at a studio, big crew, big money, everything like that. And he was the director, he's 28 years old. And he got there to the studio, and they're standing around. Of course, he was there early, naturally. And here comes 7 a.m. rolling around. Still, nobody's at the studio. Nothing's been opened up. Nothing's been done. And, he called woke up the stage manager, and the stage manager, hey, I'll be down there in a half hour. So he's sitting there with a full crew, full crew. And he hears that, and, he starts flipping out, just like not happy at all. And he said, somebody took him aside and says, listen, all these people are watching you right now. Their day will be reflected by what they're seeing in the beginning. They will follow you based on what you do next, right?
Yep.
So he said, so I turned around and I said, well, let's set up Crafty right here next to the door. And they set up Crafty. Everybody had coffee. Everybody ate something. And boom, just like that, he took control back of the situation. Everybody saw him now as a leader, not somebody who was freaking out, and he saved the day. And they got out in 10, and
well,
the
ship have a captain.
That's right. The ship had a captain. Exactly.
And something I've always said, especially when I was teaching to my students, only one person can be driving the bus. Mm-hmm. And you have to figure out, the director is usually that person. They're driving the bus.
Right.
The rest of us are passengers to support the director. And as I say, as a DP, I'm there to help the director achieve their artistic vision. That's my job.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
They deal with the actors. I don't deal with actors. I deal with the director, or somebody like that. Knowing your place in the crew. And on a side note too, I think there comes a point, a lot of people are really reticent if they have a good idea. Like if there's a problem, sometimes good ideas come out unlikely places, and you have to be receptive and realize that maybe your idea isn't the only good idea.
Right.
And you have to be willing to listen to other good ideas and pick one that goes, hey, I never really thought of that. Instead of, well, it's my way or the highway. Because you have to be able to think out of the box. And I think young people are more willing to do that, whereas people who are a little further along in their career are more hesitant to do that.
Right. Well, you know what? Age and experience comes with a price too. You know,
It does.
It makes you more cautious. It makes you more conscious about your own self-preservation, to be frank with you.
Because
you
the
know
stakes
what I mean?
are often higher too.
Much higher,
Yeah.
much higher. It can be much higher, yes, you know.
Yes.
Whereas a young person, they're kind of like, hey, why don't we try this? Why don't we do this? You hear that all the time, you know what I mean? And frankly, I encourage that, but it always comes down to time and money. You know, do we have the time to do
Absolutely.
it? Do we? Will the money? Will it be worthwhile in what we do here? Even if it doesn't cost you, I mean, time is money. So you know, it's always dependent upon that. You know, but I will tell you, and here's one thing that idea that you're bringing up. One thing I would just like to caution people, because this happens even with true, you know, people who've been on set for years, is make sure you go through the right channels to get your idea in the queue. You know what I mean? If you're working for the DP, you talk to the DP first about the idea of your sound. You talk to sound first. You know what I mean? Let them carry the water for you. And if they choose not to, don't, you know what, it may or may not be the right thing, but allow them that fortitude, because they're looking at other things than you may know about. You know what I mean? Personality of the director, any number of things, you know, why they didn't pass that on.
Oh yeah, you have to know set protocol and set etiquette.
Mm-hmm.
There is definitely a pecking order in our business, the way things are done, the way things are not done.
Right.
And you want to stay, you know, you want to be remembered as somebody who is conscientious, but also knows how the game is played, you know?
Right.
And like
right.
you said, going through the proper channels, because if you're, you know, if one of your people comes to you as a gaffer and says, hey, Burnie, I just noticed this, and that, or maybe we could do this, and it might not be something you thought of, and then you go and say, hey, what if we do this? You're going to remember the kid that spoke up with a good idea.
Absolutely.
You will remember that. You know, you go, here's
Absolutely.
somebody who's paying attention.
Yeah.
That is what gets you ahead, because one day you're going to be the senior person, you know, trying to help somebody else out. And, you know, we all got where we are by somebody helping us and showing us the ropes and showing us the right way. And people can show you the wrong way too. So you have to be very careful.
Right, right. You know, I would encourage anybody who's in a position like we are, Ben, you know what I mean, sort of the senior members of the set, wherever we go, you know, to always be open to young people. Be open to listening to them and advising them too, because I just really, I've got to tell you this, and I know we've talked about this before, I am really, really blown away by the youth today. You know, I know there's a lot of critiques of them, and there have been critiques for as long as there's been people. Older people have been criticizing younger people. But I see so much brilliance out there, so much really, too, I think this gets to be a misnomer that they don't have production value. I think they have a lot of production value. I think they approach it differently than us old timers.
Absolutely,
you know?
because their bag of tools at their disposal is entirely different than the bag of tools that we had. Come on, Burnie. I just bought an iPhone XR 10R for the camera. This camera in this phone is amazing. I am just going, I can't believe I'm getting these images out of a phone.
Yeah.
This was unheard of a few years back. Just simply unheard of. I could legitimately, if I had to, I could legitimately shoot a news story with my phone because I know how to do it.
Oh,
I could do it easily.
You know what? Not only could you shoot a news story, the news story would be better looking than what you usually get. I saw Beto O'Rourke in I think it was an NBC interview that was obviously done on a phone because they racked the background out of focus. It was unbelievable. You've never seen that high of production value on the news before.
I know.
Blew my mind.
And this is little, you know, for some B-roll, little interstitial stuff, whatever. I mean, everything has a place. And obviously the big cameras, large format scissors, but just in terms of image acquisition, it's in everybody's pocket now. High quality image acquisition, I might add.
Oh, absolutely high quality. Absolutely high quality. And you know, because that's what, and here's what I would expect to see in the future, because that is really the last proving ground for the phone, right? Is the camera in it. That is the one where the competitive level between manufacturers is going to come out in that ability to distribute
It's a dog
and
fight
record
right now
media.
between Apple
Yeah.
and Samsung. Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, yeah.
Huge, huge. You know what? And I always toy with this, and we'll get to what we're going to actually get to here. But I always toy with this is like, where is the end? How much more will they do in a phone camera? You know, I mean, where does it go from here? You know, but I think it's and not only that, why do we even call it a phone anymore? Why do we, I mean,
True.
A phone is like the least thing you do with it. You know, nobody even likes phone calls anymore, near as I can tell. You know, unless it's mom or somebody, you know.
You know. Yeah, call me a Luddite. I still like to hear voices. So you
Oh,
know,
me
you can,
too.
You can interpret a lot. It's really easy to be mean and dismissive and whatever via text. And when you're actually talking to somebody on a phone, or
it's a
even better
different
face-to-face.
thing. Yes, it's much more.
It's very
personal.
easy to marginalize people and blow people off. So I don't like that aspect of it.
Yeah. Well, listen, we're 20 minutes in, and I knew that would happen because you and I together. I mean, we spent 30 days together on the East Coast, and we never stopped talking, I don't think. And so let's get to our first one. Let's get to our first at Burnie's Apple Bite, and let's see what it is. What do we got, guys?
Why don't we explain a little bit exactly what the Burnie's Apple Bite is?
Oh, Tony, you're such a stickler.
Know, right?
You're such a stickler for details. Okay, here we go. And the reason I have to explain is because you probably never have seen one, but after every show, and we started this probably about, I guess, I don't know when, 6-9 months ago, something like that.
Yeah, so early 2018.
Yeah. So we've had our guests come in, and after the show, we have them stand up, and I ask them a question, and they give us a little answer. So it's like 1 to 2 minute pieces of their best advice that they can give, given on that particular subject I query them on. So that's what it is, and we've always intended to put these out as little bite-sized pieces to Facebook, to LinkedIn, to several other spots, but somehow they've just stayed in our hard drive.
Life got in the way.
So we're going to show them now, and we're going to break them out, and then I'm going to start posting these here over the next year. So yeah, who do we got first?
Andrew Red.
Andrew Red, awesome, from Dallas, Texas. I hope he's watching. All right, let's take a look. Hey, this is Burnie with Burnie's Apple Bite, and I'm here with Andrew Red. One question I have for Andrew is this. What advice would you give to someone who's in our business but wants to do another department?
It can be very difficult to switch departments. To be totally honest, it's not the easiest thing to transition, especially the more ingrained you get. The longer you stay in the industry, the longer you keep building your network of, say you're a camera assistant. I know guys that are camera assistants, and they've been camera assistants for 20 years, and they're amazing camera assistants. But at a certain point, they kind of go, you know what, I have a pretty good knowledge base from working with all these DPs. I think I'd like to be a DP and quit being an assistant. And it's so hard for them to get away from being that assistant. So my advice, or whatever I'd say, is like, if someone's wanting to switch departments, that's fine. Be prepared to probably be hungry. You know, you're going to want to kind of really tighten up your budget, but just go all in on it and do the best you can. Talk to people and say, look, I'm really trying to become a director now. So you know, I appreciate you calling me all these years as a DP or as an editor or whatever it is. But you know, from here on out, if you have some directing jobs, I'd really like an opportunity to do that. The other advice would be for people starting off is try to determine what you want to do as soon as possible. You know, if you want to be a gaffer, great, start going that direction. DP, director, producer, whatever it is, Try to figure out early on in your career, as soon as you can, what you like, where your talents are, where your interests are, and start pushing that direction.
Awesome. Thank you, Andrew.
Thank you, Bernie.
All
Appreciate
right.
you.
Bernie's Apple Bite. Hey, my man. So there he was, Andrew Red. He's a gaffer out in Dallas.
Okay.
Yeah. And give me your thoughts.
Okay, well, what he said was very true. And the reason I say that is there is when I first came to LA, I worked as a camera assistant, as a second assistant for a first assistant who was a long-time first assistant, worked with a particular DP who was very well known, and that DP retired, and he tried to transition and couldn't do it. What he wound up doing was he literally moved to South America. He changed his name slightly. He shot a bunch of commercials. He came back to LA with a fresh new reel and sold himself under this other name as a DP, and he is working his rear end off now. He's doing really great, but he had to step away and reinvent himself and come back. And people went, "Didn't you used to be?" Well, but I'm not him now, and that's what he did. So,
well, that's very interesting. That is certainly a dramatic approach to it, you know. But I think it takes that sort of approach to reach up to that level. You know what I mean?
Well, he was in deep. Yeah, he wasn't new. He had been an assistant for quite a few years, just like the gentleman was talking about. He had been in for a while. He was extremely well known, and he had been pigeonholed as a camera assistant. And the second part I want to touch on really briefly about the gentleman was saying about people trying to figure out what they wanted to do. That's why when you first get out of film school, being a PA is so great. If you become a production assistant, you know, for a company or whatever, it's kind of like working in the mailroom. You get to see all the jobs you don't want to do. You get to see everybody pull their hair out, and you get to figure out very quickly what department you want to be in. And when I was a production assistant, I just went and hung out with the camera department. And that's how I got in with the camera department, because I had been a cameraman already, but I was the oldest PA in LA when I came. I was 30 years old as a production assistant, so I was not new, but I had to reinvent myself once again.
Yeah. I started out at 40 as a PA, so yeah, I was. So you know the world was my oyster then. The world was my oyster then.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's take a look. What have we got? What else have we got, guys?
Dwight Stone.
Oh, Dwight Stone. Dwight Stone, whom I might make note, we were interviewing him at that time because he was leaving Los Angeles. He was he decided to go back home, be closer to the family, and make that sort of commitment.
And leave the business.
Leave the business. Yeah. It lasted 6 months. He is back to work in LA now. Well, so I will let him. We'll have him on again. We'll let him explain the rest. What's that?
What does Dwight do? What is
He's
his
a
job
grip.
description?
He's grip.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Perfectly adequate electric, but I think he does mostly grip. So he's a real good guy too. I love Dwight. Let's take a look. Hey everybody, welcome to Bernie's Apple Bite, here with Dwight Stone. Dwight, you've made the journey. What is the best way and what should someone do who's moving out to Los Angeles to get into the production business?
Bernie, the first thing you should actually do is before you move out here, I recommend saving up enough money to live on for a year. It's a lot of money, but that will allow you to start at the bottom, which is where you're going to be. Take as many free jobs as you can from Craigslist and work your way up from there. If at the end of the year you're not making progress, you're not getting better paying jobs, you're not meeting new people that are going to lead to better paying jobs, it might be time to kind of look at what you're actually doing and say, is this department the right department for me? maybe I should look at one of the other jobs on set. There's a ton of different careers in film, and they all have different strengths and weaknesses that are, better for them. So maybe just look around and see if there's something else you might like doing better.
That's great, Dwight. Thanks. There's Burnie's Apple Bytes. Awesome. There you go. Give me your thoughts, Ben.
Well, it kind of sort of parallels when I first moved out to Los Angeles 31 years ago. I actually broke my leg at my going away party, so I had to have surgery. As soon as I got to LA, I was recuperating, and I signed up for an extras casting company, and I was an extra on the shoot that was out in Saugus. And I just spent time looking at whoever everybody was gravitating to, a guy on a walkie-talkie. So on the second night of the shoot, I just made sure I was standing by that guy. And I started talking to him, and it turned out that he was from Ohio, where I had just moved from. And he said, give me a call. And I did. And 2 weeks later, I was working for him as a production assistant, and we are still friends to this day. So it does help to actually be willing to start at the bottom, and it does help to know somebody. If you have a friend, some kind of an in is very helpful when you're trying to start out in Los Angeles and you don't really know anyone.
Yeah, agreed. And I would say this too, because I certainly underestimated this when I got into this industry. You cannot meet enough people.
No, okay. You can't.
You cannot, you can't have too many connections. It's impossible, okay? I just was thinking about this the other day. I've got about 200 active customers at all time. And to keep my G&E business going, I need 200 active customers going all the time. Well, now, you can't go to enough events in this industry. You can't go to enough places to make sure that's that. So you need you need a good social media presence. But I will tell you this, nothing, just as you said about the phone call last one, nothing beats that face-to-face and having a prepared little pitch that you can explain yourself in 30 seconds to somebody so they understand what you do or want to do.
That's called the elevator pitch.
The elevator pitch, exactly. You cannot be prepared enough to do that. And I would say this, that it is your biggest asset. And I know when I started, I would start people and I'd think, well, I'm glad I'm not working with that guy again. I just worked with him today. I don't have to work with the same people like I did at my old job, all the time. Nothing could be farther from the truth. You will be seeing that person for the next 20 years. I assure you, no matter whether you want to or not. They will be coming up, and quite often they will be in a position to do you a favor or do you a good because they know you. Just even if you don't like people, even if you don't particularly like them, don't talk about it. Don't do anything. Avoid them if necessary for your own sanity. That's fine. Be professional. That's bingo. You put the nail on it there, Ben. Be professional and keep them in your circle. Remember that old saying, keep your friends close, keep your enemies closer, right?
Enemies closer, absolutely.
Yep. That makes a lot.
And in this town, as I've said to you before, as a freelancer, your reputation is the coin of the realm. Your reputation is everything.
Absolutely.
If your reputation is sullied and tarnished, then you're just done. If you have a good reputation, if you are the person that people want on their team, you will have a very long and very successful career.
Yeah, absolutely.
But if you're somebody that's unsafe, unreliable, problematic, whatever the case may be,
or
that kind
attitude.
It's a small production community, and it's like people who don't pay. It travels like fire through dry grass.
Yep, absolutely. And I'll say another thing too, Ben, because this is something that, of course, I've dealt with a little bit personally. is that things change in your own personality. You know, you can start out and being nice, being very conscious of all that, being, you know, good to everybody and helping everybody. But the pressure increases on you as you are more successful, you know, which is, success doesn't mean it gets easier. Success means it gets harder.
No.
I don't know if a lot
Yes,
of
it
people
does.
understand that, you know. But as you become under more stress, more pressure, more expectations, you know, you have to watch yourself, because you can start out as somebody who's been really nice and good, but now you're more short with people, you don't want to be bothered as much, that type of thing. Self-check, especially the guys that are our age, self-check yourself, because you may be a little too grumpy for everybody else, you know. Remember that attitude, remember that personality preference, you know.
Absolutely. And yeah, and I remember, you know, it's funny you should say that, because I was in a situation where I got a little short with somebody, and I had to check myself and go, you know what, this particular person they have less experience than me, and they just didn't realize what was going on. And I explained to them later on why I was the way I was, and I apologized and said, you know, it's just irritating when this kind of thing happens, and this is why. And then they said, oh, I can see why you would be irritated with that. Okay, I get it now. So
Yeah.
lessons learned, you know.
Yeah, yes,
So,
yes. I think we all have to be careful. We all have to be
You
careful.
don't have to be harsh to be an effective teacher. You really
No,
don't.
you do not.
You know?
You do not. And in fact, you know, taking a breath and just thinking about why somebody is asking a question too, I found is a big help. You know, looking at the person and you know, you always say it. And too, another thing, because I got it started so late in this business, you don't know how many times I was given a short shift and blowing off because I asked a question they thought was stupid. But of course,
stupid. There are no stupid questions.
Yeah.
You know, because I'd rather have you ask me than assume something and do something unsafe, get somebody else hurt, get me hurt, get you hurt.
Oh my
you know,
God.
You don't know. You don't know. And I even told my students that, you know, when I was teaching, I don't know everything. If I don't know it, we'll find it out together and look it up.
No, that is the right way. That is the right way. Yeah, yeah.
So yeah, absolutely.
It's very important. Very important.
Mission.
Yeah, yeah. Well, let's take a look. I don't know how these are coming, so the guys have to tell me what have we got next, guys.
Richard Reagan.
Yep. Richard Reagan. Awesome. Reagan. Audio here in Orange County. All right, let's take a look. Burnie's Apple Byte here, and we're here with Richard Reagan. And Richard, give me the top 3 things you need to know on the first phone call from a producer.
How many mics do you need on set? How many IFBs do you need on set? And what type of camera are you using on set? Probably the best things you could probably ask to get the scope of the project and figure out what you need to bring, how many people you need to work with in the sound department, and sort of the generalized idea of how large the project is.
Great, thank you. Yeah, so that asking the sound man, you know, how he gauges that first phone call. Of course, we have other criteria for each department, but I thought it was a good overview on getting the size and scope of the project, because I know both of us have probably been surprised by that before. I know I have. Give me your thoughts.
Oh yeah, well, you know what they say about audio: 5 minutes to learn, you know, a lifetime to master.
Yeah,
and that's an old camera joke.
Yeah,
but you know, you never really notice good audio, but you certainly notice bad audio.
Oh, my friend.
You know, wind noise, thumping mics. You know, just room. You know, hollow room. You know, echo. Yeah, I've worked with some really, really good sound people, and I've worked with some not so good sound people.
Right.
And yeah, and having somebody that shows up prepared with the, you know, where the wind is howling, and they've got a boom mic, but they've got the right housings, or they've got the right body mics, or they've got the right plant mics, or they're, you know what I mean, or they really know their craft, and it's
yeah.
I appreciate those people.
Yeah,
you know,
no.
I started out in audio way back in the dark ages and transitioned into camera, but I've always had an interest in audio, so I understand it quite well, much to the consternation of sound people.
Yeah, yeah, no. Yeah, I hear you. But you know, in a bigger picture is we all have that first phone call. And I know for myself, I've been in situations where DPs have called me, and they've called me and they've sort of like acted this is just a small shoot. You know what I mean? They didn't have the gauge for what they ordered. They were covered, but they didn't have the gauge. You get there, and then there's the 10 tons out there and everything like that, you know, and you're feeling like, wow, I wish I would have brought my bigger truck, you know, instead I'm showing.
Well, you mean, we call that available light photography.
Available light, yeah. You know, but getting that gauge of the show, I think that's the first thing. On the first phone call, you should have a set of criteria, I think, that helps you understand the project. You know, for me, it's like the question is, will you need any crew with this? You know, that's when I'm going to get the idea of how they're looking at it. You know, if it's just you, I know it's a one-off, you know, and it's probably going to be, after I question them more and find out and make sure, you know, it's going to probably be fairly simple, a one interview or something like that, relatively shorter hours. If they're asking for you and 4, then I really want to delve down into what they need and what we're doing, you know. And I think those kind of tips will help you in trying to gauge each project on its own merits.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, you have to ask just the questions: are we inside? Are we outside?
Oh, that's
people?
Standard.
Is the camera moving? Is the camera going to be up on a mountain? Is it going to be wet? Because the sun never goes down on stage. So
on stage it's always sunny. Yeah. So that's it. So I think that first phone call is something that you always have to be prepared for. And what I hate is when I don't have enough time for that first phone call. You know, a lot of times what I'll do is I'll say, I always actually say this, is can you send me an email about what you need and when it is? I mean, I have to get that, because think about it. I think some people miss this, is you need your client and actually have a provable way of saying they want you and they want this gear. That's an email, you know. So I do that too.
Absolutely, yeah. You have to make sure you're not going to a gunfight with a knife, you know. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
We all hate showing up with like, wow, this is the camera, this is the lens, and you want me to do what? Yeah, I've been there, done that. So
you know, and it's funny. You as a DP, you have to show up without your camera sometimes and use the camera they have. Right? I mean, that is, for a lot of DPs, don't even own a camera maybe, and then they have to show up, because there is a big pressure builder right there. You know, I'm lucky where I generally get my own lighting on it, so that's good. But that has a downside too for a gaffer. I think a gaffer should be thrown into some more, you know, situations where you've got to really do it by the seat of your pants. I think it makes you a better gaffer. And I think
it's yes and no. I mean, as a DP/camera operator, I mean, you know, I played the equipment game for a while, and you know, I'm getting old now, and it's really hard for me to sit there and go, well, I need to have, you know, a couple $100,000 invested in all this camera equipment, when, you know, in Los Angeles there's plenty of rental houses, and let the client rent the equipment. If I know how to use it, then that's great, you know. But I don't want the overhead of actually having to own it, because unlike lighting and grip equipment, you know, it depreciates so fast. In 5 years, that camera is not worth anything. I mean, glass and support equipment, not so much, but camera heads are ridiculous, you know, for what,
I mean, they're almost disposable. It's like a disposable item they make. They're designed obsolescence, you know, and the technology
but, you know,
just
that
keeps ripping
obsolescence,
through.
when it's costing you between, you know, $25,000 to $60,000 a throw, ouch.
Yeah,
I don't.
You
got to work it a lot.
I really struggle with the economics of the camera world. You know, I think almost the only way you make money off of cameras is having a camera house. You know, I think the individual owner operator is really too hamstrung with the cost and the jobs and everything that they need to make happen by owning their own. Now, support lenses, stuff like that.
You have to work like a dog, and the whole deal is to make it for itself fast. I mean, like any, you know, it's
like anything.
It's part of the business paradigm. It's part of doing business. It's the cost of doing business.
That's right.
If you want to play in this game, you have to play at a certain level. And, you know, ladies and gentlemen, Los Angeles and Orange County, this is the big leagues.
This is it. This is it.
This is it. You know.
You know, it's nobody. I mean, there are contenders who are starting out in the field, but nobody is like L.A. or Orange County or San Diego right now.
Or New York. I mean, this is not
New York,
Iowa.
Exactly.
This is not Kansas. You know, this is here. So yeah.
No. And just I gotta say this because I see so many people. I have so many friends from all over. The guys in Iowa and Kansas are doing awesome stuff. You know, they are. I think, you know, and too, our friend George Edmondson, right, in Tuscaloosa, Alabama. Yeah. I mean, I see what that guy is doing on air and just promoting himself and just what his production is coming to do. Dude, he blows my mind. If this guy was out here, I've got to believe he'd be one of the hottest production houses around. You know,
but he would have a lot. He would have a lot of competition, and that's the whole thing. You can also, if you want to bring, you know, the level of play that we have here to wherever you live, there are individuals that are doing that and they're working and succeeding because, you know, there's a lot of space in America to shoot. And when I was traveling a lot, we would pick up our crews, you know, a local crews, and believe me, we had crews where some guy showed up in an econo van with a couple of you know, open face lights and a roll of gel. We're a grip truck, really, you know, and other people I've shown up with a fully loaded van you can shoot almost anything out of, short of a feature. So, you know, it all depends on you know, what your aspirations are.
Yeah.
And there are a lot of good people out there. A lot of good people out there.
Yeah. Oh, tons. More and more every day. Well, you know what, Ben, Tony just told me we got 10 minutes left in the show. Blows my mind, dude. It seemed like we haven't even been here 20 minutes to me. I swear to God. Anyway, we better move on. What do we got next, guys? Where are we at?
Sarah Hunt.
Sarah Hunt. Let's get her on here. Sarah, I love Sarah. Let me say a word for a minute. I love Sarah. I love Sarah. She's in LA. If you need a producer for anything, big and small, I can't tell you the stuff that this woman has done. She blows my mind. Call her, Sarah Hunt. Sarah Hunt in Los Angeles. I wish I had her phone number to give. Well, maybe I will. But she's awesome. Let's hear what she has to say. Hey everybody, we're here with Sarah Hunt doing a little Burnie's Apple Bite. Sarah, I want to know, because you travel so much, tell me what you take into consideration when you're traveling.
Safety's a big issue for me. So very often I go ahead of the crew to do the research, and I can go into some very bad neighborhoods, and I can mix with people from the wrong side of the track, shall we say. I will always tell somebody where I'm going. I'll tell somebody in the hotel, you know, where I am going that day, how long I'm expecting to be gone, and how they can reach me, and telephone numbers of the production company, the line producer, my loved ones, in case I don't come back. And then when the crew and I are shooting, if I'm working on a job that has a darker subject, you know, where we might be dealing with people who break the law, I will tell the crew not to let people know where we're staying.
Interesting.
Don't give our hotel away. And when people come up and say, "Hey, what are you shooting?" Very often I'll be shooting a nature documentary. You know, I don't say, "Oh, we're doing a program about gun crime." We're just doing a nature documentary, and that way they go away happy.
Yeah.
Don't give too much information because, you know, careless talk costs lives.
Wow, those are great tips. Thanks, Sarah.
You're welcome.
Hey, Ben. So she essentially just said, look out for yourself. You know, watch for your personal security. Yeah, but I think it's something that we should all take into think, because I think we get, as a crew, a lot of times we're way too comfortable with where we're at. You know, we feel I think it's false sense of security sometimes.
Absolutely. She reminds me so much. I was a freelance cameraman for the BBC for 13 years, and she is so typical BBC ITN fixer, producer / person in her mindset, and she's absolutely right. A good producer has the welfare of the crew in mind, because I've been in situations in some very, very dodgy spots in foreign countries where the producer, you know, was our lifeline, was the difference between us maybe potentially getting killed, getting the story. And the producer needs to know and have a grasp of the big picture and local knowledge. So that's, a good producer is worth their weight in gold. Absolutely. They will make your life so much easier.
Yeah. You know, you may have actually worked with Sarah, because she came over here and worked with BBC. I mean, she still does, but 20 plus years I know she's been with them.
Yeah, I worked with another Sarah, not her though, but I think I know her though, but I worked with another producer named Sarah, which I'm pretty sure she knows. But yeah, it's you know, all good times. Yeah.
Yeah, and you know, somebody like Sarah too. This is the thing that blows my mind about her. First of all, and I mean this literally, she has interviewed everyone in Hollywood. Everyone, studio heads, major actors, musicians. She has done everybody, and you know, I have watched that woman. I worked with her on the Rolling Stones, where we did the behind the scenes and we interviewed the Stones and stuff about the album Sticky Fingers and its re-release. But I watched her save about a dozen interviews that she had not been prepped for, had not, you know, been given the information, and she was just throwing in to do these a dozen or so interviews. And I watched her cover herself because of her knowledge. And it was mind-boggling, Ben, that knowledge base that somebody has as a producer. It's really easy for somebody to call themselves a producer or get the title, but then there's a real producer. And
yes, because real producers have an unreal attention to detail. They have just this freakish attention to the minutia, to the little things that trip us all up. A good producer will catch, and then you go, wow, that was so flawless. That's because you had a good producer.
Yeah, no, it's really truly awesome. Okay, we got 5 minutes. We got time to squeeze another quickie in? Yeah. Okay, great.
Play
Robert Jolly. I don't know if you ever met Robert, but he's a great guy. He does an Alaska show right now. Yeah. Alaska: The Last Frontier, I think. Is it? Yeah. Let's check it out. Hi everybody, this is Burnie's Apple Bite. I'm here with Robert Jolly, and Robert, I'd like to ask you, what advice would you give somebody who's, say, maybe early or mid-career and the work has slowed down?
Burnie, one word: relationships. Maintain your relationships, treat people well, crew members, clients, vendors, anyone you come in contact with, just treat them professionally. I mean, that's not asking a lot. And the reason for that, quick example, the current showrunner I'm working for at one point was working as a PA, and now I'm working for him. And luckily things worked out. We're good friends, we work well together, but that is so essential.
And you treated him with the respect that he had when he was a PA as you do now that he's a showrunner.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's awesome. There's Burnie's Apple Bite. There you have it.
Yep.
Yeah. Give me your. I mean, he summed it up pretty well, but give me your thoughts.
The exact same thing happened to me. I was on a show. A kid that I'd worked with as a PA. I was working for him years later, and he remembered me, and he said, you know, back in the day, you were nice to me. You always treated me well. I remember you, and you know, we're still friends. So yes, treat everyone with respect, because you never know who they're going to turn out to be.
Yeah.
You just don't know.
And you know what? Not only do you not know who they turn out to be, they deserve the respect. If they are just like you, if you're coming on, you're somebody who's around the top of the set, you know, that PA who's coming on maybe for the first time, maybe for the second time, male or female, you know what? They are making the same commitment to their career that you've made to your career. Treat them like an equal. Treat them like an equal professional on there and do that.
Absolutely.
Right? I mean, it's
respect
simple.
Respect goes a long way, and respect is mutual, and respect is also earned. You have to earn respect.
Yes, yes. I will give someone before asking, I'll give them the benefit of the doubt of respect. You know what I mean? If somebody is acting in a way that I don't believe they should act, maybe I take them aside, maybe I don't even, but I will hopefully want to correct that if it's correctable. Some people are just off the rails, you know what I mean, and you're not going to be able to help them. But I would say, yeah, you've got to really, really respect people. But that's the thing that you as an individual always want to be doing, is earning others' respect. I say with trust, with honesty, and those things.
Lead by example. Lead by example.
Yes.
Especially if you have people like you, if you're a department head, people underneath you, you have to lead by example because they cue off of you and how you work and your work ethic.
Nobody's better than the leader, right? Nobody is going to act better than the leader. Yeah, yeah.
Nope.
So I think we may be getting around the end. What, 1 minute left? Oh, you 1 minute left, Ben. How do we get a hold of you? Give us your contact info.
Oh, well, I'm at 661-803-2399. Ben Stanley, CamOp DP. I'm working mostly as a CamOp these days, always looking for a good documentary or something to shoot. I'm always down to shoot something.
Awesome, brother.
Yeah.
Yeah,
you know, life is good.
Life is good. Life is good. All right, Ben, thank you so much for spending an hour with us. Really appreciate
All right, Burnie,
it.
thank you for having me. It's always a pleasure, my man, talking to you, and you're the hardest working guy I know.
Oh, man, I'm trying to catch up with you, Ben. Trying to catch up with you. All right, buddy. Thank you so much. Have a good one. All right.
All right, bye, guys. You take care.
All right.
Bye.
Cut. That's a wrap.